My name is C. Radhakrishna. I am working as senior lecturer in chemistry at Government Polytechnic College, Gadwal. We have been working on electrochemistry. Today we shall learn about the applications of electrolysis such as extraction of reactive metals, preparation of metals, purification of metals, and electroplating as well as electrotyping. These things we will try to learn today. Okay. To recapitulate, we are discussing the applications of electrolysis. What is electrolysis basically? Can anybody in the class tell me? Electrolysis is the decomposition of electrolyte by the passage of electricity. Okay, decomposition of the electrolyte by the passage of electricity. That is, an electrolyte basically is a substance which conducts electricity in two states. We have learned it, okay, in the previous classes. So, electrolyte is defined as a substance that conducts electricity either in the fused state or in solution. Because when a substance is heated to high temperature, very high temperature, it undergoes fusion. Okay, it undergoes fusion, that is from solid state it goes to the liquid state at a very high temperature. The melting points and boiling points of electrolytes, which are essentially more or less ionic compounds, it's very high. So on heating to very high temperature, they change from solid to liquid state. In this liquid state, ions are mobile, whereas in the solid state what happens is each ion is bound together or surrounded by a number of oppositely charged ions, so it just can't move. Its position is totally fixed. Okay, its position is totally fixed, it just can't move. For example, in the sodium chloride, each sodium ion is surrounded by 6 chloride ions in all the directions. Likewise, each chloride ion is also surrounded by 6 sodium ions in all the directions. So these ions in the solid state are totally fixed. They form into a highly crystalline solid. Okay. So on liquefaction, on changing the state from solid to liquid, okay, these forces, interionic forces, are broken down because on heating to very high temperature, lot of energy is given. So this energy goes to break the interionic bonds, so that on changing from solid to liquid state or fusion, okay, in the fused state, the ions are freely mobile. They will be free from the influence of the other oppositely charged ions. Each ion can move independently by itself. Okay. Likewise, when an electrolyte is dissolved in a solution, okay, electrolyte is dissolved in a solution also, the ions becomes free in the aqueous solution. Especially in the aqueous solution, water is a polar solvent. Okay, it breaks down the interionic forces on dissolution. The ions become free. So an electrolyte is defined as the substance which can conduct electricity in the fused state or in solution, because in these two states ions are freely mobile. So it can conduct electricity in these two states. Okay, it can conduct electricity in these two states, an electrolyte. So when it conducts, when electricity passes through an electrolyte, either in the fused state or in the solution, what happens is the constant ions, constant ions will be deposited or evolved at the electrodes. There is a decomposition of electrolyte. There is a decomposition. Electrolysis is that is why the electrolysis is defined as the decomposition of electrolyte on passing electricity through the electrolyte solution. For example, we have seen two examples of electrolysis. We have seen two examples of electrolysis. The first one is the electrolysis of fused or molten NaCl. NaCl on hot heating to very high temperature, it melts. This is called as fused state or molten state. In this state, it contains only sodium ions and chloride ions, and no other ions are present here. No other ions are present here. Only sodium ions and chloride ions are present. So when into this liquid molten sodium chloride, platinum electrodes, since this is at very high temperature, it is taken into a quartz vessel. Quartz vessel, and two platinum electrodes are dipped and they are connected to the two terminals of an external EMF like battery. When the electricity is switched on, these platinum electrodes become polar. One electrode becomes negatively charged, the other becomes positively charged. The negatively charged electrode is called as cathode, whereas the positively charged electrode is called anode. So when the electricity is passed, what happens is the positively charged sodium ions will move towards negatively charged cathode, and there they pick up an electron. Each sodium ion picks up an electron from the negatively charged cathode and turns Na++ electron gives you sodium atom. So it turns into sodium atomic state or sodium atom, and this sodium metal gets deposited on the cathode or gets released at the cathode. Since sodium is taking up, accepting an electron, this process is called as reduction. So during electrolysis, during the process of electrolysis at cathode, always reduction takes place. The positively charged ions go to the cathode and pick up electron. So they become from positively charged to neutral atoms, and these neutral atoms are evolved at the cathode. Sodium metal is deposited at the cathode. In the same manner, the other electrode becomes positively charged. It is called as anode. So in the solution we have negatively charged chloride ions. Negatively charged chloride ions, and these chloride ions on application of electricity move towards positively charged anode. Actually, in the formation of sodium chloride, we have seen that each chlorine atom accepts an electron from the sodium atom and turns into negatively charged chloride ion. So each chlorine atom is carrying an extra electron on it. When it moves to the anode, it gives up this electron. It loses this electron when it moves to the anode. When it moves to the anode, it loses or gives up this electron and turns into extra electron. It loses, turns into chlorine atom, and two chlorine atoms combine to form chlorine, Cl2 molecule. So chlorine gas is evolved at the anode. Here, what is chlorine doing? It's losing its electron. How did we define the loss of electron? We defined loss of electron as oxidation. Okay, so at anode, during electrolysis, at anode, oxidation reaction is taking place, whereas at the cathode, okay, reduction reaction is taking place. Okay, in effect, by the passage of electricity, the molten sodium chloride is decomposing or separating into the constituent elements of sodium, which is deposited on the cathode, and chlorine, the element chlorine, and the chlorine gas is evolving at the anode. Okay, chlorine gas is evolving at the anode. So the ratio of magnesium and aluminium. Okay, so during the process of electrolysis of fused sodium chloride, okay, the sodium metal is depositing at the cathode, and chlorine gas is evolving at the anode. This process is taking place. Okay, we have already learned this. Okay, this is for the recapitulation of what happens during electrolysis. And in the applications of electrolysis that we are going to see now, learn now, the same process will be happening, and we'll be learning the same thing over and over again. Okay, now let's try to see a small problem, try to work out a small problem, okay, based on the electrolysis. What is the weight ratio of magnesium and aluminium deposited during the passage of same current through their molten salts? For example, let us take it as 1 Faraday of current. Okay, 1 Faraday of current. So 1 Faraday of electricity, see, this is that pertains to the Faraday's second law of electrolysis. What does the Faraday's second law of electrolysis state? Can anybody recall? After electrolysis, after doing the topic electrolysis, we went for the Faraday's laws of electrolysis. If you can recall, we have done Faraday's laws of electrolysis. Okay, so what is the Faraday's laws of electrolysis? Faraday's first law is the amount of substance, the quantity or the mass of substance deposited or liberated at the electrode during the process of electrolysis is directly proportional to the quantity of electricity passing through the electrolyte solution. That's the Faraday's first law. And what is Faraday's second law of electrolysis? Faraday's second law states that whenever the same quantity of electricity is passed through different electrolytes connected in series, okay, whenever the same quantity of electricity is passed through different electrolyte solutions connected in series, okay, the ratio of the different substances deposited or liberated at the electrodes, okay, is in the ratio of or is proportional to the chemical equivalents of the substances. Okay, chemical equivalents of the substances being deposited. Here in this problem we have sent 1 Faraday of electricity, 1 Faraday of electricity through molten magnesium chloride and molten, okay, molten aluminium chloride. Okay, so when electricity is passed through molten MgCl2, magnesium metal is deposited at the cathode. In the same fashion, in the same manner, in the same way, the aluminium metal is deposited at the cathode. Okay, magnesium metal is deposited at the cathode in the magnesium electrolysis of magnesium chloride, and aluminium chloride is deposited at the cathode in the electrolysis of aluminium chloride. since we are assuming that 1 farad of electricity is passed through their molten salts, 1 farad of electricity is passed, okay. If 1 farad of electricity is passed through their molten salts, through the magnesium chloride, okay, 1 gram equivalent of magnesium will be deposited, okay. 1 gram equivalent of magnesium will be deposited at the cathode. What's the gram equivalent of or gram equivalent weight of magnesium? Can anybody recall? Can anybody tell me? What's the weight of 1 gram equivalent of magnesium? Gram equivalent or equivalent weight or chemical equivalent, all are one and the same, okay. The chemical equivalent or equivalent weight is defined as atomic weight of the metal divided by its valency. Atomic weight of the metal divided by its valency. In the case of magnesium chloride, magnesium, it dissociates into Mg2 plus and 2Cl minus, okay. In the fused state of or molten MgCl2, it will be in the it will dissociate into ions, it ionizes into ions or dissociates into ions, which gives rise to Mg2 plus 2Cl minus ions. So the valency of magnesium is 2 plus 2, okay. We know that the atomic weight of magnesium is 24 grams per mole. Its weight is 24 grams of magnesium per mole, okay. So the chemical equivalent or equivalent weight of magnesium metal is 24 by 2, atomic weight by valency, that is atomic weight is 24, valency is 2, so it is 24 by 2. So it is gram equivalent weight of magnesium is 12 grams. So by the passage of 1 farad of electricity, okay, see here in the problem he gave as same current, so we assume the quantity of current to be 1 unit, that is 1 farad of electricity. So we are assuming it as 1 farad of electricity. So we can obviously see 1 gram equivalent of magnesium will be divided by the passage of 1 farad of electricity, okay. 1 gram equivalent of magnesium will be deposited. Okay, 1 gram equivalent of magnesium will be deposited by the passage of 1 farad of electricity. So 1 farad, the gram equivalent of magnesium is 12 grams. So 12 grams of magnesium will be deposited here by the passage of 1 farad of electricity. Likewise, aluminum chloride dissociates into Al3 plus see, on fusion, ions will separate in the aluminum chloride, it ionizes. So aluminum chloride dissociates into Al3 plus 3Cl minus ions, okay. Aluminum dissociates into Al3 plus and 3Cl minus ions. So the valency of aluminum is here Al3 plus, so it is 3 plus 3, valency of aluminum is plus 3, okay. So atomic weight of aluminum is 27 grams per mole, okay, 27 grams per mole. So here the same formula, chemical equivalent or equivalent weight is equal to atomic weight by valency. So 27 by 3, it comes to 9. So by the passage of 1 farad of electricity through molten aluminum chloride, 9 grams of the 1 gram equivalent, that is 9 grams of aluminum will be deposited. So by the passage of same current, that is 1 farad of electricity through molten magnesium chloride and aluminum chloride liquids, okay, the weight ratio of magnesium and aluminum deposited are 12 grams is to 9 grams, okay, 12 grams is to 9 grams. 12 grams is to 9 grams. Okay. So now I hope you have understood this working out how to work out this problem. Okay. Now we'll move on to the applications of electrolysis. Okay. We'll move on to applications of electrolysis. First, extraction of metals. First is extraction of metals. See, many metals can be manufactured by the process of metallurgy. Okay, many metals can be manufactured by the process of metallurgy. Okay, so active metals like sodium, magnesium, these are all highly reactive metals. Magnesium, potassium, sodium, aluminium. These to prepare these metals, okay, what we do is we carry out electrolysis of the molten salts of these metals. Okay, electrolysis of molten salts of these metals. For example, let us take extraction of sodium metal. Sodium metal is a highly reactive metal. Okay, sodium metal is extracted by the process of electrolysis of sodium chloride. Sodium chloride is this is most economical. Sodium chloride is widely available and at an economic price. Okay, cheaply available. Okay, so this sodium chloride is taken and it is heated to very high temperature. This sodium chloride is heated to very high temperature. Okay, on heating to high temperature, the sodium chloride compound dissociates into sodium and 2 sodium ion 2 NaCl dissociates into 2 Na plus and 2 Cl minus. It dissociates into 2 Na plus and 2 Cl minus. Okay, 2 Na plus and 2 Cl minus. This process is we call as ionization. Okay, so this molten sodium chloride is taken into a quartz container as you have explained earlier, and 2 platinum electrodes are dipped into this. Okay, 2 platinum electrodes are dipped into this molten sodium chloride solution liquid. Molten sodium chloride liquid, which contains sodium ions and chloride ions. These platinum rods when connected to the external EMF to terminals, negative and positive terminals of external EMF like battery, one of the platinum rods becomes positively charged and other platinum rod becomes negatively charged. The positively charged electrode is called as anode, while the negatively charged electrode is called anode. Okay, on passing the electricity, you have got both positively and negatively charged ions in the liquid, sodium chloride liquid. On passing the electricity, okay, the positively charged ions, sodium ions, will move towards the negatively charged cathode. Okay, they move towards the negatively charged cathode, and there they pick up they pick up electrons. Each sodium ion picks up one electron because it is it carries unit positive charge. To turn into a neutral atom, it needs just one more electron. It is short of an electron. Okay, so it picks up each sodium ion, goes to the cathode, negatively charged cathode, picks up an electron and turns into sodium atom. So in the equation we have shown 2 sodium atoms. So 2 sodium atoms move towards cathode. Okay, at the cathode 2 sodium ions take up 2 electrons and turn into 2 sodium atoms. Thus sodium metal is deposited at the cathode. Okay, sodium metal is deposited at the cathode. In the same manner, see what is the kind of reaction taking place at the cathode? What is sodium doing? It is picking up electrons. It is accepting electrons or gaining electrons. The gain of electrons is called as what kind of reaction? It is called as reduction. So the sodium is undergoing reduction and turning, sodium ions are turning into sodium metal, and sodium metal is getting deposited at the cathode. Okay, likewise two chloride ions which are negatively charged, they will move towards the positively charged anode. So we have seen in the formation of sodium chloride, chlorine atom, which is just one electron short of nearest inert gas organs configuration, will accept each chlorine atom will accept one electron from the sodium atom, okay, and it gains the argon configuration. So in accepting an electron, and it is gaining an extra electron, and it turns into, each chlorine atom turns into Cl minus, that is chloride ion. So each chloride ion carries an extra electron, okay, with it. So these negatively charged chloride ions, will move towards, okay, these negatively charged chloride ions will move towards the positively charged anode, where they give up their electrons, that is, they lose their electrons and turn into chlorine atoms. Two chlorine atoms, chlorine is a diatomic molecule, exists as a diatomic molecule. So two chlorine atoms combine together to give rise to Cl2, to turn into Cl2 gas, and so chlorine gas evolves, okay, chlorine gas evolves at anode. What kind of reaction is taking place at the anode? Okay, at the anode, it is chloride ions are losing their electrons. Loss of electrons we defined as oxidation. So oxidation reactions are taking place at the anode. Okay, oxidation reactions are taking place at the anode. Okay, so that is how during the by the process of electrolysis, okay, sodium metal is being deposited, okay, is being deposited at the cathode in pure form. So here we can this process of electrolysis process used in the extraction of reactive metals. Likewise, aluminum is also extracted through Hall's process. Here aluminum oxide Al2O3 is taken, alumina is taken, it is heated to, alumina Al2O3 is heated to very very high temperature, whereupon it turns from solid state to liquid state or fused state, into which platinum electrodes are dipped and connected to external EMF. So they acquire polarity. One rod turns into anode and another rod turns into cathode. Okay, one rod turns into anode, the other turns into cathode. So the positively charged aluminum ions present in the solution, they pick up, they go to the cathode, and each aluminum ion is carries 3 units of positive charge. Okay, each aluminum carries 3 units of positive charge. Okay, so when they go to the cathode, each aluminum atom picks up 3 electrons, okay, from the cathode and turn into aluminum atom, and thus aluminum metal is deposited at the cathode. Aluminum metal is deposited at the cathode, not platinum electrode. Okay, here one is a carbon electrode. graphite electrode. Okay, at the anode, which is a graphite, oxide ions will go to the cathode, graphite cathode. Okay, this being positively charged. Okay, the anode being the graphite anode being positively charged, these negatively charged oxide ions will go there. Each oxide ion has 2 extra electrons than oxygen atom. So each oxide ion, each of the oxide ion will lose a pair of electrons. Okay, pair of electrons at the cathode, that is a graphite rod, and they will react. This oxygen being highly reactive, it reacts with the graphite rod, and carbon dioxide gas is evolved at the anode. At the cathode, reduction is taking place since electrons are being absorbed, and while at the anode, since electrons are being given up by oxide ions, oxidation is taking place. Okay, the net reaction we can write as 4Al3 plus 6O minus 2 ions, okay, 6 oxide ions, 4 aluminum ions, plus 6 oxide ions, plus 3 carbon atoms. Okay, 3 carbon atoms gives as 4 aluminum atoms. Okay, 4 aluminiums. Okay, aluminum will be obtained in the liquid state, plus 3 carbon dioxide being the gas, evolves at the anode. Okay, then next application will say purification of metals or electro refining. Okay, in the process of electro refining, impurities present in the metals can be removed by electrolysis. Okay, impurities present in the metals can be removed by electrolysis. See, for many normal applications, you need not have metals of very high purity, but to make scientific instruments, for scientific applications, for defense applications, we need metals of high purity. These metals of commercially produced metals will not be highly pure. Okay, to purify these metals, okay, to purify these metals, they are purified by the process of electrolysis. Okay, purified by the process of electrolysis. In this process, the metal which is to be purified. Okay, see, the main components of an electrolyte cell or electrolysis is the anode metal, cathode, both the electrodes, as well as the electrolyte solution. Since we are trying to purify a metal, we don't want to contaminate it with others. So here the electrolyte we take as which metal we are trying to purify. The metal salt solution of that metal itself, we take it as electrolyte. Okay, the impure block of the metal which is to be purified. Okay, impure block of the metal which is to be purified will be taken as anode, and a thin sheet of pure metal will be taken as cathode. On passing electricity, what happens is pure metal from the anode goes and get deposited on the cathode. Okay, how it happens? Let us see with the example of let's consider the electrolytic refining of copper, and how it happens we can see here. Okay, how it happens we can see here. Okay, electrolytic refining of copper. As we have mentioned here, to refine copper or to purify copper, we take impure copper as anode and pure copper sheet or pure copper rod as a cathode, and electrolyte is you should take a salt solution of a copper. So we have taken copper sulfate solution. Slight amount of sulfuric acid or HCl, hydrochloric acid is added to that, just a trace amount, okay, to improve the electric conductivity faster, to improve the electric conductivity. So the electrolyte is a slightly or marginally acidified solution of acidified copper sulfate solution. Okay, so here impure block of copper, here we are trying to refine copper or purify copper. Okay, so in this electrolytic refining of copper, okay, what we are doing is we are taking okay, impure block of copper which is to be purified as anode, pure sheet of copper we are taking as a cathode, and acidified, slightly acid is added, acidified solution of copper sulfate solution is taken as a electrolyte. Okay, so we know what are the reactions that take place in the cell. Okay, let us see. Okay, copper sulfate solution, copper sulfate being an electrolyte, when it is dissolved in water, okay, it ionizes into cupric ions, Cu2 plus ions, as well as SO4 2 minus ions, cupric ions and sulfate ions. So copper sulfate ionizes into Cu2 plus and SO4 2 minus. Okay, copper, when electricity is passed, what happens is copper from the anode, that is impure block of anode, will goes into the solution in the form of cupric ions. Okay, copper from the solution will go into the copper from impure anode will go into the solution as Cu2 plus ions. Okay, Cu2 plus ions, leaving the electrons on the anode, leaving the extra electrons on the anode. These electrons left over the anode will travel through the external circuit. Okay, they will travel through the external circuit and move on to the cathode, making it negative. Okay, so since the copper ions are moving into the solution, moving into the solution in S2 plus ions, leaving the electrons, oxidation is taking place at the anode. Okay, in the CaSO4 solution, the number of positive charges and number of negative charges are equal. So Cu2 plus ions and sulfate ions are, the number is same. But here what is happening, when electricity is passed, Cu2 plus ions are entering into the solution. So the positive charge in the solution must increase, the solution must turn positive in nature. This doesn't happen because solution must be always neutral according to Arrhenius theory of electrolytic dissociation. So if imagine per 1 second 10 cupric ions are being released into the solution, coming into the solution from anode. Solution already contains Cu2 plus ions which are formed by the ionization of copper sulfate. So what happens is these Cu2 plus ions, okay, from the solution will go to the cathode. They pick up 2 electrons. Each copper cupric ion will pick up 2 electrons from the cathode and turn into copper metal and get deposited on the cathode. So what is the net reaction taking place? Copper ions are moving or transferred from impure anode to the pure copper sheet cathode. Okay, so there is during the electrolysis there is transfer of copper atoms, copper from anode to the impure anode to the cathode. Okay, if you observe the diagram, at the bottom of the anode you have got some solid in the form of anode mud. See what is anode? Anode is a impure form of copper. We have seen it's impure, right? Okay, so the impurity is present in the anode. Since copper is getting moving from anode to the cathode. Okay, after running the process for some time, the thickness of anode will decrease and thickness of copper cathode will increase because of deposition of the copper, transfer of copper from anode to cathode. If the impurity is present in the anode, if they are soluble in the electrolyte solution, they become dissolved. But you cannot say all the impurities are soluble impurities. Some impurities may not be soluble, some impurities may be soluble, some impurities may be insoluble. So, if at all any insoluble impurities are there, since they are insoluble, they settle down at the bottom of the container in the form of precipitate. Since this is coming from the anode, we call this as anode mud. This is called as anode mud. Okay. Next, we'll see the electroplating. Electroplating is the process of depositing. It is essentially the same process of purification or electrolytic refining, where the metal is transferred from anode to cathode, but the application is different, right? The application is different. So we do it again. Okay, it is again the process of transferring metal from anode to cathode by the process of electrolysis. Okay, so since the purpose is different, the application is different, we are learning it separately. The process involves the same thing. Okay, electroplating. It is the process of deposition of one metal over another metal by means of electrolysis. Okay, so the process of depositing of one metal over another metal by the process of or by means of electrolysis is called as electroplating. Okay, this process is carried out to protect the metal from corrosion. Okay, to protect the metal from corrosion, we are giving a metallic coating to the base metal object. Okay, the metal being deposited is called as noble metal. The metal object on which deposition is being made, okay, is called as base metal object. Okay, this process is called electroplating, is done usually either for prevention of corrosion. Okay, second is for decorative purposes. Okay, superior metals or noble metals like gold, silver, nickel, etc. Gold, silver, nickel, etc. are deposited over the base metals like iron, copper, etc. Let us see the electroplating of silver. Okay, electroplating of a spoon. Let us see the electroplating of a spoon. Okay, in this process, okay, electroplating of a spoon, silver coating on a spoon. Okay, we are transferring silver onto a another object, spoon. Okay, the spoon is called base metal object and silver is called as a noble metal. Okay, in this process, pure silver is used as the anode and spoon is used as the cathode. Okay, spoon is used as the cathode. Acidified silver nitrate solution is used as electrolyte. Okay, acidified silver nitrate solution is used as electrolyte. Okay, so electrolyte, in the electrolyte, silver nitrate dissociates into or ionizes into Ag plus and NO3 minus ion. Okay, when you pass electricity, okay, silver, we have taken pure silver as anode. So when you pass electricity, silver ions, Ag plus ions from anode will go into the solution, leaving electrons on the anode. Okay, since there is loss of electrons, we call this process as a process of oxidation at anode. Oxidation occurs at anode. These electrons which are left over on the anode will travel through the external circuit and go to the cathode, making the cathode negative and electron rich. Okay, so when the electricity, the solution contains silver ions and nitrate ions in an equal manner, okay, equally, so the solution is electrically neutral. When the electricity is passed, silver from, okay, anode is going into the solution in the form of Ag plus ions. Okay, and at the cathode, Ag plus ions are picking up electrons and getting deposited on the cathode in the form of silver metal. So What is happening here? By the process of electrolysis, silver is there is transfer of silver metal from anode to cathode, and the cathodic object is getting coated with silver metal. So this process is called as is being carried out. This process being carried out by means of electrolysis. So we call this as electroplating. This process is called as electroplating. Let us this is what the reactions that are taking place. Let us see the diagram also once. To the power source like battery, external EMF. To the negative terminal to the positive to the negative terminal, the object to be electroplated, the base object to be connected to the cathode, negative terminal, which becomes cathode, whereas pure silver rod or pure silver block is connected to the positive terminal of the external EMF. So silver block becomes anode, and our object to be electroplated becomes that spoon becomes cathode. The solution is slightly acidified silver nitrate solution in it is aqueous solution of silver nitrate. That is silver nitrate is dissolved in water, aqueous solution of silver nitrate. So when the electricity is passed, silver ions from the anode are going into the solution, and you can also see silver ions from the solution are getting deposited on the cathode. So at anode oxidation is taking place, at the cathode reaction is taking place, and net reaction is transfer of silver metal from the silver anode to the base metallic spoon, which is acting as a cathode. Since silver is getting deposited on the cathodic object, we call this process as electroplating or transfer of metal, plating, coating of an object with metals by means of electrolysis. Next is electrotyping. Next process electrotyping. So here preparation of metal blocks with impressions of various letters. The matter which you want to print into large number of copies, it is made into a block. So the preparation of metal blocks with copper with impressions of various letters or numbers with matter for printing purpose, and this is done by this preparation of metal block, copper metal block is done by electrolysis. It is called as electrotyping. In this process, pure copper metal is taken as anode. Pure copper metal is taken as anode, and a sheet of plaster of Paris or wax coated by graphite powder is taken as a cathode. Acidified copper sulfate is solution taken as electrolyte. In this process, see, copper sulfate dissociates into copper ions and sulfate ions. It is slightly acidified, slight amount of or trace amount of H2SO4 is added to improve the electrical conductivity. So on process, say cathode is the block containing matter. When electricity is passed, copper from anode will go into the solution, and cupri in the form of copper ions leaving the electrons on the anode, and copper ions from the solution will get deposited on the cathodic block. So the matter impression is prepared. This process is called as electrotyping. Same electrolysis process, same transfer from anode to cathode in all the reactions. All things, the same thing is happening. So we have so far discussed the application of electrolysis. First, in the process of extraction of metals. Next, for the electro refining purpose, that is purification of metals. Next, for electroplating, that is deposition of one metal over another metal object. Again, for electrotyping, 4 applications of electrolysis we have learned in today's class. Okay, let's see a few physics questions. What is the number of electrons gained at cathode when 1.08 grams of silver is electroplated on a metal tray? Okay, say the atomic weight of silver is 108 grams and its valency is 1. So equivalent weight is also 108 grams. Equivalent weight of silver is 108 grams. So to deposit 108 grams of silver, you need 1 farad of electricity or Avogadro number of electrons, that is 6.023 into 10 to the power of 23. Okay, to deposit 1.08 grams of silver. Okay, so 108 when divided by 100 you get 108. Likewise you divide the Avogadro number by 100. Okay, so it becomes 6.02 into 10 to the power of 21. Okay, so the number of electrons gained at the electrode for the deposition of 1.8 grams of silver is answer is B, 6.02 into 10 to the power of 21. Okay, next, electrolysis is used in the extraction of iron metal, magnesium metal, copper metal. All the 3 can be extracted by the process of electrolysis. Okay, so answer is D, all of the above. How many faradays are required to generate 1 gram atom of molten magnesium from molten MgCl? See, the equivalent atomic gram atom of magnesium weighs 24 grams. For 1 farad, 1 gram equivalent of magnesium is deposited. So the magnesium deposited by farad of 1 farad is 12 grams. 12 grams is gram equivalent. So deposit 1 gram atom. Okay, you need that is 24 grams. You need 2 faradays of electricity. That's the end of this lecture. Thank you everyone. Okay, the frequently asked questions from this chapter are: what is electrolysis? Okay, you define electrolysis and state any 4 industrial applications of electrolysis. Okay, state means just to mention them. Okay, write a short note on electroplating. You have to draw the diagram and label and write the equations. Write a short note on electrotyping. Even here you have to draw the diagram, label the parts and write the equations. Okay, thank you very much for listening to the lecture.